Okay, so here is my little bangs tutorial video. Hopefully I explain myself well, hopefully it makes sense. Yeah. Alrighty, this is my fourth time. What I start with is I'm just gonna section off the actual, like, how wide I want the bangs to be, right? So for me, obviously, I've got it easy because they just fall out on their own because they're shorter than the rest of the hair. But you can just section off like this front piece and see how thick you want it to be. Obviously, I think you probably wouldn't do it as thick as mine because mine are really, really thick. Yeah, you could probably do like 2 centimeters, something like that, and just section off this front part and clip back the rest of the hair so it doesn't get in the way. All right, now that that's done, I'm gonna section off the front bit. So for me, it goes from around about, like, we'll say the middle of my eye upwards, and then I'll take it slightly slanted, like inwards, you know, kind of triangle shaped. So yeah, it's gotta separate the side pieces for me, just like this. This will make it blend in with the rest of the hair really nicely, this sort of triangle shape. I'm gonna fix that right there. So the triangle shape is just so that it, yeah, falls nicely with the rest of the hair and doesn't look too choppy, you know, or like different steps of the hair and all that. So I'm just gonna section that off and then tie back the rest of my hair so it doesn't get in the way. Ready, so now that everything's sectioned and everything that's not gonna be cut is out of the way, I definitely recommend, I've seen so many videos of people using kitchen scissors and stuff. Technically, they do work, but it is just so much better if you have scissors for hair. Yeah, I did cut my hair with kitchen scissors one time. It didn't end up very well. They work, but they're just not designed for cutting hair, you know. So I'd recommend, yeah, scissors for hair. And then another thing is that I'd also recommend just wetting your hair before you cut it, because cutting it dry can cause split ends and breakage a little bit. I did do that one time and learned the lesson the hard way. I have cut it dry before where it was fine, but it's just safer to wet it beforehand. I've moved my bird out of my room for the video, but he still manages to find a way to make noise. Ashman. Now that the hair's wet and sectioned off, I'm going to take an even smaller section from the middle, another triangle shape, and this is going to be the shortest length of your hair. So for me, I'm going to cut it quite a bit shorter than I would recommend, because my hair's being straight, when it's like the tiniest bit of humid or hot or anything like that, then it just straightens out immediately. So I always cut it a little bit shorter. But for this piece, what I would recommend is to just take the strand as it is, like this, and just to kind of hold it up to see, like when you've styled it with, if you use a blow dryer, it's going to be a little bit more, it's going to have more volume. You know, if you use a straightener like I do, it's going to hang a little bit flatter. But just to kind of guess where it would end up and where you need to cut it, you know, well, with that in mind. And so for me, I'm going to cut it, I think, right, I'm gonna cut off like a centimeter or so, but that's just me. I would recommend not cutting higher than like the middle of your nose, the bridge of your nose, just to start out with and see how you like the length, because I mean, you can always trim off a little bit more if you don't like it. Okay, I'm just clipping these pieces so that they're out of the way and that I don't accidentally cut them. So now that I've got my section, I'm going to just make sure all of the hairs are nice and in place and all in a row as they should be. And then obviously to see where I'm cutting, all right, I'm gonna cut off about a centimeter, and I'm just gonna do that in a straight line. Well, as straight as I can get it. If you don't cut it perfectly straight, that is completely fine, honestly, as long as it's not a massive, I don't know, like diagonal line or anything, then it's completely fine, because you really won't see it with styling. But if you can just get a generally straight line, then that's all good. Now that I have all the hair, I can see there's a clear difference between the line that I cut and the rest of the hair. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna comb it all straight down and blend in that line that I just cut with the rest of the hair. So what I usually do for this is I'll kind of pull it all forward because it's a triangle shape, right? When it falls and it's all cut in one length, it's gonna fall and be like a nice curved face framing shape at the end of the day. I've got all of that pulled into a smaller area with the rest of the hair. I'm gonna see that little piece that I cut earlier, and I'm gonna cut the rest to the same length. There we go. And so now that's gonna fall into a nice little U shape. Something that I also like to do, this is me personally, but I've seen a lot of people do, it's just to get a bit more texture into the bangs, is that they'll group all the hair together, and so that you can see the straight line that we've just cut, and then they'll just take the point of the scissors and do a little tiny bit of point cutting, yeah, just to get a little bit of texture in there so it's not all one straight line, you know. Definitely don't go crazy with this and try to cut very in line with the hair so that it doesn't make like big gaps and like chopped out marks of it, but that's just so that it's not all one straight line. Now that that's done, this is for me personally because my bangs are so thick, I'll just take like around the top half of it and I'm gonna cut that part a little bit shorter, also with the point cutting method, so it blends in nicely with the rest of it, but this is just for a bit of added texture and volume. Just gonna cut a few small pieces out of there to give it a bit more volume. Right, so it's not much shorter than the rest, but it's just enough to not weigh it down completely. Now, I'm not sure if you want to do these side pieces, but I'll show you how I do it anyways, just in case you want to. So for me, I've also sectioned off more than I would recommend, but I'll show you just now how much you can do if you want to. For me, it's, again, I've got it easy because I've already cut it shorter, so it just kind of falls out. But after it's got a line, I wouldn't recommend going any further than the ear, you know, so like as much as you would just tuck a little bit behind your ear and this much would fall out naturally, I would recommend that much. So yeah, mine's a bit thicker also because I'm really leaning into the look, you know, of the face framing layers and all that. But yeah, just to follow that line there and not go very, very far like I have admittedly. But yeah, just to section off that on both sides. Now that that's done, I'm gonna take this top half and just section that off and clip this one back and obviously wet it again. After that, I'm gonna look at this line of the bangs that I just cut compared to the rest of the hair, and for you the hair would obviously still be long, but you're just gonna take that corner of the bangs that you just cut and you're gonna kind of angle it downward. Something that I've seen people do is they over direct the hair, so they take it the one way. As you can see, mine is like with the part that I just cut versus the rest of it, there's a big difference, and so I'm just gonna blend that in nicely. I think, yeah, taking smaller sections at a time is definitely easier if you're not, yeah, if your hair isn't already in the right shape. Definitely take the time to make sure before you cut the line that everything is in the right place. So I'm just gonna cut it according to that line that I just cut there. I'm just gonna trim right there, just in a downwards slanting piece so it blends in nicely. Then I'm gonna take the rest of it and also comb that with the hair that I just cut, and see the difference right there, and just trim it off. That was maybe a bit much, but that's all right. Also going to be doing a little bit of point cutting later on, just to give it a bit of texture. Okay, and now for this bottom piece, exactly the same thing. I'm just gonna comb it all together and see. You can also cut the bottom pieces first, just like a little bit of a guideline to see how long you want these pieces to be. I like them to be, yeah, obviously not too long, not to my shoulder. They're grown out now, so they are, but I like them to be, I don't know, just a little ways off my shoulder, you know. So if you tie your hair up or something like that, it just, frames your face a little bit. Just combing the hair all to one side to see where I just cut versus the long pieces. Alright, so I'm just going to cut again downwards all the way. At a nice slanted angle. There. Looks a little bit choppy right now, but that's what the blending is for. Just gonna trim a little bit where I think it's needed. There. So it's nice and blended in, nice slanted line. I'm gonna do exactly the same on the other side. It's also good just to now and then check to see if the pieces line up, like if the length is the same. And so just to take pieces from both sides and compare them to see if they're the same length. Pieces, I'm just going to check if they line up, and they seem to line up. I think it doesn't really show up that much after you've styled them, so yeah, just if they're pretty much the same, it should be all right. Okay, now I'm going to put some heat protection in my hair, and I'm going to show you how I style it. I don't know if you want that tutorial, but just because. So now that I've let the heat protection air dry, I'm going to show you how I style it. This is genuine, just completely up to taste. You can do it however you like. You can experiment a little bit with the sectioning, with the styling, with how, I don't know, how much you curl it, you know, and things like that. But after having bangs for a couple of years, I think, like a year or two, something like that. This is just the method that I've found works for me and that I've developed over the time of having bangs. So that same section that you sectioned at the start of cutting bangs, it doesn't have to be exactly that. It could be like approximately. I'm just going to separate here and clamp with a clip. And then for the side pieces, I'm going to separate them in half. Just about. Also, it doesn't have to be precise, it can just be pretty much there. And then I'm going to clip up the top section just like this. So what I like my hair to be like is kind of, I like if it does like the swoop effect, you know, like if it lays nicely and frames my face and all that. So all of the hair when I style it goes away from my face. So I'm just gonna I use a straightener, you can use a blow dryer, see what works for you. I'm gonna take it like this, turn it away from my face, and then just take it downwards to make a nice curl like that. And I'm gonna do sort of the same with the top layer. I'm gonna section it in half, so like in the length of the section, I section it in half and pin this part back. And now I'm going to do pretty much the same thing as the bottom section, just make sure I have all the hair. And I'm going to clamp it there and just take it downwards and outwards like that to make also that nice, you know, outwards effect. And now for this part, the third piece of the face framing layers, so just going to brush it out. And now I'm going to take it same way, but I'm going to turn it to like a 45-degree angle, something like that, and I'm just going to take it outwards and let it drop like this. It just gives it a little bit more volume than the other pieces. And I'm gonna do exactly the same on the right side. There. Looks a little bit bouncy, but trust the process. This is not the most trust the process part of this process, so. And there's the face framing pieces pretty much done. Now I'm gonna start with the bangs. And this is just how I do it. You can also experiment with this bit, but I like to section off a little, like an upside down U-shaped piece, like that. I think that's actually alright. Then I'll pin back the rest of it. This is just the method that I found works nicely for me. You can, yeah, see, like customize it to your taste, see what works and all that. Now I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to clamp it as close as I can without burning myself and curl it downwards. Now the amount you curl this is really up to taste. You can see if you like it longer, if you like it like tighter curls, you can see, play around with it a bit and see what works. And then I'm going to take the top piece. Now I like it if my hair is parted towards the right side, so I do that. You can also play around with this, the part, or if you want to do it all in one go, it doesn't matter. Just find what works for you. But I'm going to clamp the left side back and then take the right section and curl it more outwards and backwards, so like this. And then this is the trust the process part. It looks a little bit insane, but you'll see in a minute the results, they look nice, I think. Then the same with the left side. I'll just take them backwards and out like that. And so now I look thoroughly insane and like I had rollers in my hair, but this is the part of the process. I promise it will get better. So what I do now, this is, yeah, just the technique that I found works for me, is I will take one of these little clips that I have and I'll put it in my hair. See, the goal of this, the reason I took it up and out is so that it could like lie towards the side like this, you see, so that makes a nice swoop effect, but we just need it to lie down, hence the clips to weigh them down. And so I'm going to put one, maybe not that much, put one around there, and here, more angled I think, like that, and one here, and no, that one missed. There. I'll just leave that in pretty much this position for, I don't know, about 10 minutes, maybe less, just enough for it to cool down and kind of set in this position. So these are the results. They're pretty good length, I think, and the trust the process stage has passed. It looks a little bit more normal now. Sometimes I'll go a little step further. If I don't like the way the swoop turned out, then I'll just put my glasses in the hair to make it sit in that position for a couple minutes, as well as like the clips and such. But yeah, it depends how it turns out the day that I'm doing it. But I hope it was helpful. I hope you liked it. I hope I explained myself well. If I didn't anywhere, let me know and I can send you some more, I don't know, information about something that I missed or something like that. But yeah. Bye.